In October of 1994, an extraterrestrial contactee by the name of Alex Collier sat down for an in-depth interview discussing wisdom he's acquired from the human race of the constellation Andromeda. This is his story.
In detail, please describe your first contact at 8 years of age in 1964.
I didn't really know anything about it. I just knew that I supposedly had fallen asleep, and when I woke up it was evening. Everybody had been looking for me, and I wasn't where I was. And when I took them back to show them where the imprint was, we were playing hide and go seek, and this was in the peninsula of Michigan, near Woodstock, Michigan. And people had been looking for me, and I wasn't there, and I got a spanking, because I wasn't where I was supposed to be, and I'd been missing for hours. I didn't really know what had occurred until the second contact, which was at age 14, where I was told what had happened, that they had given me a physical. They had given me a suggestion to forget because of my family members just simply wouldn't understand. And they were right. They were very right about that.
Why was the physical necessary?
Well, they do that all the time. They do that to everybody to make sure that you're physically fit, because they genuinely care about your physical health. And if there are problems, they want to make us aware of it and maybe offer a suggestion, like maybe you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. Some people are even experiencing healings. And it's just a genuine caring for, of acknowledging who you are, not only on a physical level, but on a spiritual level.
Now, at age 14, what was the nature of that contact?
I was taken out of bed, and I woke up and I was on a table in a room, and this was my first introduction to this A.S.M.R, at least conscious introduction. And they were looking down, and I did, on a soul level, experience a recognition. There was no fear whatsoever. And we talked, and they showed me some things about my physical self. They also gave me a ball which recorded my entire energy field, who I was, who I've been in past lives. And as it was recording this, I could see all these different images of who I'd been going across the screen. And they saved this, and this was put into the computer so that they would contact me and could contact me no matter where they were at any particular time that they needed to. I was asked if I wanted to help them. I agreed to do this, although at the time I didn't know exactly what it would entail. I had, at any time, the choice to say no more, but it's been an incredible experience for me.
Now, you're in contact with the Andromedans. Who exactly are the Andromedans?
They're a particular race that exists in the constellation of Andromeda. They're just one of thousands that exist out there. They are the particular races that I talk to and have had contact with and have given me and shared information with me are human. They're white-skinned to light blue-skinned, anywhere from 4 foot tall to 8 feet tall. And they are human in every way. All human life originated in Lyra. And when Lyra fell during a war, long before one of the stars there exploded, they migrated out from Lyra during a war in order to preserve the race, and they went to different parts of our galaxy. So all human life originated from Lyra originally. Everybody on the Earth is from someplace else. None of us were born and hatched here. None of us as souls were created here. We all come from another time and place. My understanding is that all of the conscious spirit that's in this universe came through different black holes from other universes in time and space, which we simply aren't privy to. So we're ancient. There's no age to us. We weren't created with the universe. We came through another universe, through the black holes, to this place that we now call our universe, to continue to evolve.
Have they described what their civilization is like to you?
Yes, they have.
And could you go into
Sure.
some of the details that strike you the most about their civilization?
They're essentially, no matter where they are, they're a one-world government. Their society would be approximately 4,700 years more advanced than ours on a spiritual level. On a technological level, they're 50,000 years.
Now,
but there's a balance between their technology. In other words, the technology they create is based on a spiritual necessity to evolve and not on one to defend themselves, even though it can be used for that.
Now, when you say 4,700 years advanced spiritually,
yes,
how do you measure spiritual advancement in years?
I don't really know. That's what they've expressed to me.
I see.
And they don't even use time in their world. There's no such thing really. But they use those numbers to accommodate us so that we can use those as a point of reference.
What do they call their world in their language?
They don't speak. Everything is a symbol there. The whole race is telepathic. And I want to back up just a little bit. There are 28 different races there. Not all are human. Many are dimensional, plasmic, organic, that were there before the human aspect of the Andromedans themselves, or the Lyrans got there and became Andromedans. There's a lot of life on the different dimensional levels that if we were to go to fifth density, we would be physical on fifth density, even though here we're on third density. Our perspective of them is being spirit. So, on each of the different dimensions, there is an abundance of life that is completely different than how we would perceive it.
What is the main difference between the third density and the fourth density?
The real difference is consciousness. In fourth density, you can pretty much instantly create what it is that you think. Whatever your thoughts are, you manifest almost instantaneously. So there is a major degree of responsibility in dealing with that. Also in fourth density, we become more of a group mind. In fourth density, we're all telepathic. In other words, everybody can read each other's minds, which means you have to be real. You can't have hidden agendas because people will see right through you. Also in fourth density, we all become clairvoyants. We'll be able to see energy fields, see life forms, which means that if you're hiding something, it'll be seen instantaneously. They've also said that in fourth density, when we move into that, our court systems will change. There's still a positive and negative. That exists all the way to the fifth density, where you will experience, to a strong degree, the dualities in our everyday environments. What will happen is you'll have a judge and you'll have a jury who will all be clairvoyants, and they will read the energy field and know who's telling the truth and who isn't. And everything will be judged based on that. Will be based on energy, not on words. In fourth density, when you walk by somebody or you touch somebody's hand, you will instantly know everything about them. So again, there'll be no hidden agendas. Everybody will really have to be real. And if they choose to have and continue to play out their agendas, whatever those are, then they will have the space. But you will know, or people will know, I will know who we're dealing with instantaneously. Their music is of the universe, of what the music that certain planets make as they rotate around their sun, what different solar systems make as they revolve around their sun, and what whole systems, the sounds and energy that they create, to them that's their music. And then they put things together, different constellations, different star systems. They'll put those together and overlap them to create music. It's different than what we just pull out of thin air here. They themselves are still searching for what God is. They know it exists, but what it is, nobody really knows, which is why they call it the isness. It's just a force that's there. And how we perceive it is based on how we perceive ourselves and our own belief structures, belief systems. And that's how we use the energy to create. They're whole. I guess that's the only way that I can put it to you, is that they're completely whole. Every soul knows who they are. They know who they've been. They know what their reincarnational past has been. They, as a soul, have a personal agenda, which every time they incarnate, they're consciously aware of. So they know where they're going. They see improvement in themselves life after life after life. We, if we hadn't been so screwed with here, would have the same abilities. We could very much be where they are. But we've been manipulated incredibly for the last 5,700 years on an intense level every day. Our real manipulation really started about 14,000 years ago, when the Orion group started manipulating our DNA structure. So it isn't that they're better, because they're not. We're just different. We're a little bit behind than they are because of our manipulations here. But the real bottom line here is we're all spirit. We contain a soul. That soul is a part of all that is. And that soul has been really trying to be recognized in each of us. And it hasn't been because of the material and the belief systems that we have evolving around us being earth people, about being physical, and about the real truths of our essence, of our existence, of who we are, having been blinded from us, from our spiritual teachings, from the religions, and us being convinced that we're something that we're not, that we're physical, that we're animal form, and we're not. We're spirit. Our spirit animates these physical forms, period. When we leave our physical form, and what many of the Catholicisms teach, you're judged by God. It just simply isn't true. We judge ourselves. And what I read in that statement is that when we cross over, we look at the places in our life where we withheld love, that we maybe didn't give enough. And we judge ourselves on that.
Alex, what is the Andromedan Council?
It is a political body that's represented by now 133 different races and cultures and planetary systems. There are over 1,200 systems and planetary races, evolving races that could be part of the Andromeda Council, but not all of them are. It would be comparable to Earth here to like a United Nations, except it's not a United Nations in the sense that it has a political agenda. The Andromedan Council, as a body, their sole purpose is to facilitate evolvement of all life in the galaxy. And that's really what their goal is to allow all life forms to evolve on their own without manipulation. Obviously, that's not occurring here on Earth. And we're not the only ones. This is occurring on 22 other planets in our galaxy. But the other planets are not stuck in the muck that we are, to the degree that we are here. And this is a major concern for them, because we're not moving in a direction that we should be moving. There are elements here that are definitely holding us back. And because Earth has become this real prize, and not only Earth, but us.
Now, how and why was it first brought into existence, the Andromeda?
I don't know. I do know that it was formed. It was formed shortly after the Orion Wars, which was a huge war that lasted 600,000 years in our galaxy. And it was predominantly between the humans, the human race, of which there's all kinds of humans, hundreds of billions of humans, and those of reptilian races that do coexist in our galaxy.
Now,
there was no winner, by the way. Apparently, both sides got so tired of killing each other, they just kind of stopped, and a undeclared truce was formed. And I know in Orion, where there's a very large group, they have their own political group called the Orion Group, and the humans and other life forms that came together formed the Andromedan Council. And there are others, that are a small part of each of the galaxy, and other galaxies apparently have their own little groups where people come together and decide, what's happening, or they communicate with each other. There's trade, there's bartering, there's a sharing of wisdom, of knowledge, of essences, so that everything can evolve together and work in an unconditional love type of space.